Hi folks, we've talked a bit about what a multiple is. It's something that I can multiply a number by to get a product. So if I'm looking at multiples of 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. So 2, 4, 6, 8, these are all multiples of 2. And if I skip count up by 2, every single number that I land on is one of its multiples. In this case, we're looking for the lowest common multiple, or sometimes you'll see the abbreviation LCM. Now, common means it's the same, and lowest means smallest. So the lowest common multiple is the smallest multiple that shows up in 2 or more sets of numbers. So if I'm looking for the lowest common multiple of 3 and 8, I'm going to begin by writing down the multiples of 8 and writing down the multiples of 3. So if I'm looking at my multiples of 8, I have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and that's going to go on. I'll see if I have enough here to figure out the lowest common multiple. And then if I look at 3, I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. What do you notice? I can see here that 24 appears in both sets of numbers. So 24 is a multiple of 8. It's also a multiple of 3. And it's the first multiple that they both have in common. So it's the lowest common multiple of 8 and 3. We don't always have to go so far in our numbers. If I'm looking for the lowest common multiple of 3 and 12, for example, I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 24. But let's take a look at my multiples of 12. 12 times 1 is 12. So already I have my common multiple here. And the lowest common multiple can be the number itself. 12 times 1, 12 is a multiple of 1. 3 times 4 is 12. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. So this question is asking me to find the lowest common multiple of 6 and 15. So I'm going to write out my multiples of 6. I have 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. So I'm skip counting up by 6. And now I'm going to look at 15. I have 15, 30. I can see here that I have my lowest common multiple, 30. And a way I can double check that is I can divide 30 by 6, which equals 5, and I can divide 30 by 15, which equals 2, and in both cases, I end up with a whole number. When I'm finding multiples and the lowest common multiple, I always need to be dealing with only whole numbers. I'm never using decimals or fractions, so this checks out. I'm going to show you a shortcut though. Some of us, we might not want to be writing down all these numbers. So one thing that you can do is start with your largest number. In this case, my largest number is 15. So I'm going to write out some multiples of 15. I'm going to write out 5 multiples. So I have 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. And now what I can do is instead of writing out all my multiples of 6, I can just skip count up by 6, and I'm going to watch and see if I land on one of these numbers. So 6, 12, 18, so I'm past 15, 24, 30. And when I say 30 when I'm skip counting, I can also find it here. And that's another way that I can more quickly decipher what the lowest common multiple is between two numbers. In this example, we want to find the lowest common multiples of 12 and 15. So I want you to pause this video right now, and I want you to take a look and figure it out. It might be helpful to use a multiplication table. You can just look up a picture of a multiplication table on Google if you don't have one on hand. Otherwise, you can practice counting up, skip counting up by these numbers. So pause the video and then come back. Ready? I'm going to write these ones out because, again, these are numbers that we might not be as familiar with multiplying. So when I skip count up by 15s, I get 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. And now I'm going to skip count up by 12s. So keep your eye, and hopefully on your paper, you've circled your lowest common multiple when it came up. So I have 12, no, 24, 36, no way, 48, nope, 60. And it lined up perfectly here. They happen to be right on top of each other in this example. So the lowest common multiple of 15 and 12 is 60. Both numbers can be multiplied by a whole number to make 60, and there's no number before that both numbers fit into equally or evenly. Let's take a look at another example. Here, I need to compare three different numbers. So I want you to use your paper and I want you to write this out, or you can use the technique of checking off which multiples of 2 and 4 go into the multiples of 5, like we did in the earlier example. You can choose your strategy. Pause the video and unpause it when you're ready for the answer. All right, I'm going to start with 5, and I'm going to write out my multiples of 5. So I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. It's usually a good idea to write down 6 or 7 multiples of your largest number. Sometimes you might be able to recognize you don't have to go that high, but if you're not sure, that gives you a lot of room to work with, and then you can skip count up by your other numbers. So when I skip count up by 2, I'm going to put a green check mark above the ones that 2 goes into, the numbers that are also multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yep, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, yeah, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay, now I'm going to skip count up by 4s, and I'm going to add a pink check mark above the multiples that also belong to 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So I can now stop right away because I can see that all three numbers, 2, 4, and 5, have 12 or 20 as a common multiple, and it's the first multiple that all three go into, so it is my lowest common multiple. I hope this was helpful, and if you have any further questions, please check in with me and we'll take a look.